Hey guys, welcome to the Grateful Anglers Podcast. I'm Big John.
And I'm John Bondi, and today we're going to talk about trolling for walleye.
No, we're not. We're here to talk about rod selection for jigging on the Detroit River walleye. Since that's coming up, guys, everybody's pumped. I know we got a little bit of snow on the ground there last night, but you know what? The boat ramps are open. From what I could see, I was down at LaSalle the other day. They're open. And guys, one of the first go-to things on this Detroit River is jigging.
You know what? There was a report from 48 hours ago. I posted it on the Bondi Bait Facebook page. Some guys were jigging by the Rensen downtown. The water was 34.5. They showed it on their graph, and they had 29 fish.
Wow.
And there was some sows in there, and they said they looked up and down the river, and there wasn't a single boat except them.
That's the way it is sometimes, you know. Like sometimes you could go out. I mean, there was one year, me and my old partner Rusty, we got out in February at the end of February there, and we nailed them just on the other side of Fighting Island there, by the pump hose, and we tried that a couple years later. We had open water in February. We went, and those fish weren't there. So you never know. That's the thing with the walleye. You got to follow them, and
you know what? My experiences over the years. Now this is prior to the mega spawning years that we just experienced. My experience has been that those early fish come up in waves, and it can be feast or famine. It's not like April. I mean, you can kill them one day, you got a 4-man limit, and then the next day they're not there. And I think they come up in waves, and you just got to get on your graph and look for fish down there. But it's not consistent this early. It can be all, if you happen into them, it's going to be unbelievable, and they'll be snapping. But it's touch and go. So I would just wait, another week or two. I mean, we got some bad east wind here. It's probably all muddy out there, anyways. But if you can get out and you got spare time, you might hammer them.
You know, and I've always looked at it the same way, John. Like, I always feel like when it starts out early in the season, you got some really great chances at some really big fish, and sometimes you can get on them really good, and sometimes you can't. But I always find once that water temps hits 44 to 46 degrees, which usually around the beginning of April, everything goes into like cruise control, and then you hit another step, at the end of April where the water clarity kind of sticks. We don't, this time of year, you get one bad wind, this river will dirty up for days.
A lot of people think it's the rain that dirties it up, but you need literally like 4, 5, 6 inches of rain to have an impact. It's so flat around here that the rain has very little to do with it. It's generally the wind. And in the spring and fall, you get the north, northeast, and east winds, and there's no weeds to keep those
bottom together.
Yeah, so it just stirs up, and it's so shallow up on St. Clair. You get an east wind, and then waves are rolling. Next thing you know, the river's muddy. Luckily for us, we have a pretty fast flushing rate here, and within a couple days, it's clear again. So
we could thank St. Clair for that dirty water. And I was talking to a good friend of mine, Rob Jones, a great fisherman, the other day, and he was talking about the St. Clair River. I said, "Do you ever have to worry about dirty water up there?" He said, "No, So, I mean, they don't have a Lake St. Clair above there. They got Lake Huron, which is that cold blue water, right?" So,
however, St. Clair is what warms the water, because that a lot of that water gets up on them flats after it gets out of Lake Huron, and that's where it gets its warmth from.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And so it comes down, and then it warms up on them flats, and then gets going down the river, and then it gets mixed up in the river, and that's why it's significantly warmer than St. Clair River.
Anyways, John, that's a whole other episode. We're going to get to that because you have told me some wild theories about, why the river gets dirtier easier in the spring. So we're going to talk about that on another show. But today we're here to talk about rod selection and what we like to use for jigging for Detroit River walleye.
You're so old school, man. You got this pistol grip Baitcast rod. When John bought this, the Dead Sea was only sick. It wasn't even dead yet. It's so old.
I love it.
Yeah, I know. And there's a handful of guys out there who are sticking to them baitcasters out there. Now, why do you like the Baitcast reel like that?
I really don't know. I just find it's a light rod. I like the fight of just having nothing on the forearm, just right there. Like you could fight a little 2-pound walleye, a little 1.5-pound walleye, and it's gonna feel good on this rod. Now, what I like to run is just a 5.6. This rod here is medium heavy, but there's times when I like a little bit of a faster tip, and I have a bunch of different pistol grips. I only brought one with me today, with different tip actions, and yeah, it's just I like it. I'm kind of old school and stuck with it, but I am thinking about getting one of those new tacticals this year and trying to spinning rod with it. So we'll see. And I know that's what you like to use as a spinning rod.
Well,
so
I used to use nothing but Baitcast reels, and for part of it was you go on the American side, you can use 2 of them. So you just do this to let the line out, and it just seemed easier. But the only benefit to me is letting the line out. I mean, other than that, I realized, I don't know, 20 years ago that setting the hook, to me and to my customers, isn't as efficient and easy with a baitcaster, because with a baitcaster you're doing this, it's all in the wrist, right? And to me, then you're up here and the rod's straight up and you're trying to, I know you do that with bass and muskie and all that, but when it comes to the walleye right under the boat, to me, a spinning rod, you're just doing this, you're just lifting. You know, and for the customers and that, it's way easier. A lot of people are unfamiliar with that type of reel, and
it's all what you're comfortable with,
it's
right?
all you're comfortable. So I've gone from completely using baitcasters to just that spinning rod where we just lift, and it just seems to me you get more chance at a really good hook set doing that. Just theory.
And with that being said, you're right, and I do keep spinning rods on the boat. Like if I get people who don't fish coming out jigging for walleye, I'll give them a spinning rod, just because if you're not aware of what you're doing with one of these, you could get into a real pickle out there.
Yeah, and it's just like I say, it's just that swivel of that setting that hook with that thing. Man, I don't have love for it anymore. It's all about that simple lift. It seems to catch them.
The one disadvantage about using a baitcaster compared to a spinning rod is back in the day, guys, I used to be a smoker. I'm not proud of it, but I've been quit for 12 years. But when you used to set the hook, sometimes you bring it so high, your line's right there. The heater of your cigarette would cut your monofilament. You know what I mean? I've done that a few times back in the day. Then you're trying to grab your line and pulling the fish in by hand. But that's the only disadvantage I've ever found with these. I mean, This reel right here, guys, is just an Abu Garcia old round reel, and this reel I bought when I was, I want to say, 19 years old.
That looks like a 5600 C4.
Yeah, and I'm 44, so this is like 25 years old, this reel, and I probably should have had some reel maintenance done to it over the years, taking it to Damo and having them done it, but I haven't done nothing with this, and I've probably dipped it in water a few times and everything, so you can even see, look how loose my hand was. John's saying, oh boy.
We sell reels here, You need a severe
I don't know. It works good. I like it. I like the old Abus, and it's a 25-year-old reel and it's still cranking.
No. So those Swedish-made reels were, I mean, that's all we used back in the day, was those things, and the Ryobis and things like that, So, but when I talk spinning rods, I've come to realize that one specific model, one specific action, it'll catch a fish all the time. But on them days where the fish are acting weird and they're light biting, having multiple actions and lengths and line choices and stuff in the boat is it can be helpful. You can go from just trying to set the hook and missing some of them fish to actually getting some. When you use a crankbait and you're throwing a crankbait at smallmouth and stuff, you don't want too stiff of a rod. You don't want to be, you want the length to chuck it out there, but you don't want to be throwing a flipping stick. You want something that's got a lot of give, so when them smallmouth come up and grab that hook, they stay pinned on there. And I think it's the same with the walleye. So it's important to have different models of rods, different brands. Yeah, you can have a medium heavy rod, but Shimano's medium heavy is going to be different than Tactical's medium heavy. So have medium rods. Have it can save your day. You can have your buddy just kicking your butt, and his rod action is just slightly different. And a lot of it's not just nearly his jigging motion. You're jigging the same, but he's got a bit softer rod, so when them fish grab it, they stay pinned on there, And people don't look at the small
you miss a lot
like
of fish if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, people got to look at the small details in fishing, and that's why we have so many fishing rods at your house, is because not everything works. You don't have a golfer with one club. You need all these different,
You really do. And I know all our wives probably say, like, hey, why you got to have so much fish and stuff? But there's a reason for it, and what it is, we don't know, but that's what we do. Now I have a question, John. So I've always run short rods, 5, 6, maybe 6 foot max, but I'm seeing more and more guys jigging on the river now, and some guys are using a little bit longer rod. Are you seeing that, or?
I don't use a longer rod, and one of the reasons is you go out there and try like a 7 foot 6 spinning rod, and if you're just out there and your mind's drifting away and you're not really paying attention to what you're doing, when you go to jig that thing, you're gonna be jigging at about 24 inches up.
Yeah.
I tell my customers, jig 12 inches up. The fish are on the bottom, jig 12 inches. In reality, they're probably doing 14, 15, 16, 18 inch self. I tell myself 12 inches, but I'm always jigging higher than that. You get that longer rod and you will just automatically
go
higher. And I don't think that's what you need.
I talk about that too. Like sometimes if you're snapping and going way high, like guys think, oh, I'm fishing on bottom, but you're not. When you're on bottom for a minute, but when you're snapping high and going high, you figure, okay, I'm using a 5, 6 foot rod. That jig is going, you're snapping it, so it's going up 5, 6 feet. Plus, the momentum's going to bring it a little higher.
Yep.
And you get that hit at the top, okay, wow, that fish either came up for it, or that was a suspended walleye on the river.
Yeah, there are those days where they really pop it, those ones up high. Yeah, go ahead, jig it high, whatever. That's not the majority of the days. The majority of the days, they ain't chasing it up.
Low and slow.
Yeah, so that's, I think, the main reason guys use shorter rods. To me, it's always been, is to jig it not too high. The longest rod that I've used over the years is 6.5 foot. It's probably a little too long, but I've got lots of them, and it's worked well for me, but that would be the absolute max. Most guys are using 6 foot, 6'3". Some guys use like 5 foot, and I haven't used a 5 foot in a long time. But it's important to have multiple actions, multiple rods on the boat, multiple line choices. So yeah, some of your rods are,
with that being said, because I've actually had a request for this episode, John. A friend of mine out of London said, John, when I'm coming down to jig, he goes, I want to get the perfect rod to start, So maybe he doesn't want to go out and buy a bunch of rods. What would you recommend him for a rod right now for action, side length, and everything? I know that we use multiple rods, but for the guy coming from out of town that just wants to have something universal, what are you going to recommend?
I would recommend, if he's not going to fish here all the time, if he's going to come once a year, you can get $40 to $60 jigging rods. You don't need to spend big money on this stuff. You know what I mean? And but
wonder if he wants to get one good rod, like a good tactical rod.
Oh yeah, the tactical 6'3".
So what action is he looking for?
Medium heavy fast tip.
Medium heavy fast tip.
Now, when you want to spend money on a rod, this is like a $30 Gander mountain rod. Okay, it's nice and light, but the eyelets aren't going to hold up like this one would, and over time, once you get more experience at it, you're gonna gravitate to the better quality rods.
Look at the eyes, isn't that beautiful?
A higher quality rod is going to be lighter. It's going to be made from higher quality materials. The eyelets are going to be able to withstand a super line. This is a tactical 6'3". we sell well over.
Hang on, I want to show this to my wife. Happy birthday to me this year. Anyways, we'll see if she watches the video or not.
Yeah. So if a guy's gonna come and buy one good rod, you're looking at a rod that you're gonna keep. You're gonna pair with like a $150 reel. I would spend at least $150 on a rod, if not more. But if you're taking kids and stuff like that, you don't need to do that. Just 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks, and maybe at Christmas get them a real good rod if they take to jigging, if they like fishing, and sometimes you can go a little overboard on stuff, and a kid don't even like to fishing, So, I've spent different things. I've spent in my life $30 on a rod. I've spent $200,
Yep.
On Loomis's and stuff like that. But the advantage of the more expensive rod is they're lighter, okay? And when you're jigging all day, you won't think it makes a big deal, but you get fatigued after jigging all day with a heavier rod. Yeah, you can get $40 ugly stick, but that glass is heavier than a very finely made graphite rod. So
listen, if you think this is bad jigging all day with the rod, try jigging a Bondi original on a musky rod all day, and you're switching arms. You're like, but everything's worth it when you get that hit. And it's not even the fight with that. I'm not talking musky for too long, but you got to try it sometime, guys. Jigging on the river for musky. It's just an amazing ordeal, and you're not always going to get them, but when you do, it's not even about the fight. It's about that hit.
You know what?
But anyways,
I caught my biggest muskie, 55-inch, on a $40 saltwater ugly stick.
Holy jeez.
Think of that. And you try jigging that thing all day, you won't make it. It's just way too heavy. It's made for the ocean. So, what you're going to spend, the money you're going to spend, you're going to get less fatigue. That's pretty much it. And you're going to have more sensitivity because they're using higher quality materials.
Just because you sorry to cut you off, but you have all these different range of rods here at the store.
Yeah, $40 to $150, $200.
Yep.
Now, you don't have to spend that, but you're going to come back and buy a higher quality combo when you're really getting into it.
Get comfortable with it.
Yeah. So, just it's more sensitive, but sometimes that overly sensitive rod can hurt you, right?
Yep.
If they're light biting it, and if they're just pulling in and sucking on it slightly, maybe you want something a little more dull and a little softer, things like that.
Yeah.
So, and you won't know until you're out there, right? So bring multiple actions, multiple brands, and lighter line, heavier line, and just try different stuff. I'm telling you right now, if you stick to one model all the time, you're certain days it's not going to be as good. You'll wonder why your buddy's catching them all of a sudden, and fish are weird, man. They're not going to act. We think in our minds that the fish are going to do the same thing every day. They don't. They don't. It's not even close. So you don't put all your eggs in one basket and think just because they bit this jig head color and this 6-pound braid and this action rod yesterday, it's not going to work the next day.
Yeah, I've had those days, where you're like, oh man, okay, it was solid today. I'm coming right back tomorrow, and then it's a totally different game, But anyways, I mean, there's so many different variables to jig in the Detroit River. The key is to have the right rod, the right jig, the right worm, or the right minnow, and to stay vertical.
We're going to talk about vertical in another episode, but I think just important to have more than one combo on the boat. And if you're missing fish or you're not getting them, try the other rod and reel and see if that matters.
Yeah. So, John, on our last episode, or not, I don't know if it was our last one or the one before, we took a little bit of heat on me wearing a Bass Pro cap and you wearing a Cabela's shirt. But I just want to let everybody know that we're not greedy people. I go to Bass Pro in the States sometimes too, and I deal with Strictly in Windsor as well, and John deals with different people as well. So, but with that being said, he really does appreciate all his customers and everybody who comes in. But we support local business. Like today, I'm wearing a good friend of mine, Handlebars shirt. Just a great guy. He's got a great product and a great business, and I try to deal a little bit with everybody all year, but I know that you're really appreciative that to all your customers.
Yeah.
And it's a tough industry to be in.
I sell to Bass Pro and Cabela's.
Yeah,
so I'm fine with either way.
Yeah, see, so there you go. So that's the story. But so today I wore the StarCraft. I had something a little different. So
yeah, I went brand X today.
Yeah.
Just so
I don't want to show that I'm married to anybody because I'm not. But John's been a great friend over the years, and I love dealing with him. And then I also deal with Strictly Fishing in Windsor for all my hand line and stuff.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do an episode on all the tackle shops in this area.
Yeah.
Ones from past decades that are closed and ones that are currently open. We're gonna just kind of do an episode just talking about old tackle shops and places with
history, man.
Yeah,
history,
we love that stuff. So if you got any ideas of tackle shops that have long been closed, send them over. I mean, I got a whole list of them I wrote down that from my childhood that I remember, and that's going to be another episode. But let's talk about something crazy, man. Did you hear Kevin Van Dam is retiring?
We're retiring from, so what? He's just never going to fish again?
No, he's going to be promoting and doing TV and stuff like that. He is done tournaments.
Oh, good for him.
After this year.
John, that's another episode I want to do sometime is tournament fishing, because there's a lot of stress in tournament fishing. People don't realize it, but if you're not cashing checks, you're worried about your sponsors, you're worried about feeding your family and producing. So it's stressful. I tournament fished years ago at a totally lower level, and I felt the stress just in that club, you know. And
was it stress or was it excitement?
A little bit of both, you know. It was.
You catch a big fish in a tournament, you're adrenaline.
Oh, it goes through the roof.
But to see Kevin Van Dam retire like that, I mean, to me, he's the greatest of all time. You know, Rick Clunn was my hero growing up, and but see Kevin Van Dam, he's so competitive. To see him retire, to me, I think he packed it in 10 years too early, because he's so competitive. I was stunned by that news. So this is his last year on the tour, and part of the reason he's so good, I haven't told you this, but usually when he's wiping my boat down at the end of the day, he sees what I have tied on.
Yeah.
And he goes out, you know, and then you see.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, now the air's getting thick in here, but. Kevin, God bless you. You've done a great job over the years, and I hope you can go to leisure fishing now and enjoy yourself. And
you know what? He is a huge hunter too. Him and Mark Zone, all them guys, man. I know these guys for a long time, and you've never seen the bucks and everything. These guys, they get the biggest of everything. I mean, they just have this innate ability in the outdoors. You know, the Van Dam family. You should see in their store in Kalamazoo the bucks on the wall.
You've actually met Kevin Van Dam several times.
I've known him for years. I can tell you what, the person that's helped me the most in my career of fishing, from guiding to tournaments, no one has given me the support that you don't see. And I'm talking like mainly boat stuff.
Yeah.
And Kevin Van Dam's brother, Randy. Nobody has helped me as much as that guy has in the fishing industry. That guy's done so much for me. I mean, I owe him so much over the years. Just from the industry perspective, I'm not talking family and things. I'm talking like the industry itself. Van Dam's brother Randy is. I mean, I owe him such a debt of gratitude I could never repay. You know, over the years. So I mean, long stories, but that's a good family out there, and we wish Kevin well. All right, well, thanks, guys, for tuning in this week. We got some awesome walleye episodes coming up in the next few weeks, because it's getting close here. And Big John, what do you got to say today?
Guys, we just appreciate everybody for watching. We're getting a strong subscriber base on our podcast channel on YouTube there, and we're having a lot of fun with it. And I know John's so appreciative of everybody who comes to his store, and also the stores that you supply and buy your baits. I mean, It's a tough industry to be in, and you seem to manage to do it over the years.
Look for our new packaging wherever you go.
Yeah, it's
We
beautiful.
got a bunch of new colors coming out, and
Is that a Ziploc?
yeah, buddy.
Oh, so here you go. When you're done with this, maybe it's Ziploc. Maybe you can put your walleye fillets in there and freeze it.
Maybe you're a little small fish.
Whatever, man.
Yeah, you could put your cheeks in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Your walleye.
You ever eat
cheeks.
walleye cheeks?
I love them.
You eat them? Is it a lot? You know, what I mean, like, is it? I never really spent time.
Scallops.
Yeah, I never really spent time digging them things out of there. But you do that, eh?
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't get much out the small fish, but yeah, it's good meat. I try to make the most out of all my fish. But with that being said, you know, I zipper my fish, so I cut that vein out, and I bleed my fish out. So you eat one of my fillets, like that meat's white, and it's just. You can eat everything. You'll never find a bone in my meat.
You want to know one of the most important tips when you're cleaning fish is to, before you put them in the freezer, make sure you get every last bit of blood out of the fillet.
Bleed them out. You never have that.
Right, but if you don't do that and you're cleaning fish and there's blood on the fillet, wash them good. Get all that blood out because it degrades the meat over time.
Yeah.
If it's in the freezer too long, definitely clean that thing good. You know.
Yeah, take the time. Take the time and do it. Cheers, guys. Love yous all. Be positive.
Cheers, guys. I get to say it.
Okay.
Cheers, guys. Love yous all. Be positive. What's the other stuff?
Don't be negative.
Don't be negative. Glass half full. And
We're out.
be careful out there. Don't jump the gun. Just wait. There'll be plenty of fish to catch.
Yeah. Just follow his boat.
No.
Don't follow mine. You follow mine, you get guppies. You follow him, you get walleye.
No. No.
Okay. Take care, guys. Hey, guys. Welcome to the Grateful Anglers Podcast. I'm Big John.
And I'm John Bondi. And today we're going to be talking about rod selection for jigging the Detroit River.
Oh, I almost knocked yours over. I know. Yours is a little different than mine.
Let's start over.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hey, guys.
And girls.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, gender neutral people.
He's starting.
Hey, gender neutral. No. Hey, gender neutral individuals. Welcome to today's podcast. Let that one go. Okay.
Okay. Okay, let me get the line. Hey, guys. Welcome to the Grateful... Oh, you say hi, guys and girls?
No, you just say hey guys, and I'll say hey gender neutral individuals.
Hey, guys. Oh,
No,
okay.
just do your
Okay.
intro, and I'll go.
Hey, guys. Welcome to the Grateful Anglers Podcast. I'm Big John.
Should be hey gender neutral people, individuals. That's Big John.
Really?
Well, you got to be today's.
Okay, hey, guys and girls. How's that sound?
There you go. Well, you're still excluding people.
Okay, guys
Okay,
and
let's
girls
just
and
start
neutral gender.
Let's just start over.
Let's just.
Okay, just do the normal one.
Okay. Hey, guys and girls, it's Big John here.
And I'm John Bondi. Just hey,
It's Grateful Anglers Podcast.
Okay, so
Here we go. We can't get started.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, here we go.
That'll bring a tear to a glass eye.
Oh, yeah. Can't do this. Okay, here we go. Hey, guys. Hey guys, welcome to the Grateful Anglers Podcast. I'm Big John.
And I'm John Monty. I can't do it. I can't do it. Okay, let's start over.
GoPro, stop recording.